Hi, I'm Sarah.
Hi, I'm Francesca. And this is our wonderful guest, Molly Shayna Cohen, theater director extraordinaire, football enthusiast.
Yeah,
and then
I would
what
say
would
so.
be like number 3?
Left-handed.
That's cool.
I really think left-handed people are cool.
Yeah, I claim that with a lot of pride.
I wanted to be left-handed. My mother was left-handed. May she rest in peace. My ex-husband was left-handed.
Sorry, I'm just
Sarah,
having
do you have
we're
thoughts
sound
about it?
engineering.
We're good.
Well, do you feel like in growing up in elementary school, you were, like at a disadvantage in terms of like the way that desks were
Yeah,
designed?
you know those desks that are like connected?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would make a point of like turning my entire body and being like, look, I have to go this way. And it's so
Yeah.
problematic. And there was one desk that was always left-handed
Yeah.
that was in like a different room. And I would go, and especially in high school, and I would like walk and get it and like drag it down the hall and be like,
I bet there are some people, or there was a time when being left-handed was considered a disability.
well, they beat it out of you.
Yeah,
I think my
totally.
grandfather was
Oh,
supposed
really?
yeah, it was like the sign of
They tried to, I think my mom's generation was the first generation where they allowed a child to continue being left-handed.
like
Yeah.
the nuns were the nuns doing it.
Well, in my
She
family, I
wouldn't
wouldn't
know
know
anything
that
about those nuns.
But
Molly's
yes,
Jewish.
I'm very Jewish. That's the fourth thing about me.
But you grew up are you secular? Did you grow up secularly?
No, so my parents would say we grew up conservadox. So my mom grew up Orthodox.
Okay.
And then when my dad married my mom, he actually became like far more into it than she was. But she left, kind of took a step away from that. And then they raised us in like a pretty religious household. My parents keep kosher. We celebrated Shabbos every single weekend.
Have you ever had a shellfish?
I have had shrimp.
And how was it?
Oh, I love
Shrimp
love
is pretty
Shrimp is
good.
great, but I've never had, at least to my knowledge,
Pork.
I've never had pork to my knowledge.
Yeah.
The
I've never
best.
had
Literally the best.
scallops. Are the thing that I always am so curious
No,
about.
they're really, I adore a scallop. And in fact, my youngest child, when she was a baby, her breath smelled like the sweetest bay scallops. I know, it was really beautiful.
Wow,
Which is a delicacy.
I bet.
Tiny bay scallops.
Does her breath still smell like that?
On some mornings, yeah. I mean, this is maybe a little gross, but like, I love my kids' bad breath. I really love everything about them. It's actually what gives me hope about love in general. Because I'm like, oh, I love these kids. I love every single thing about them. So maybe somebody could love everything about me.
But
We
flesh
already
of flesh.
I know, but other than my mother. I
There's
guess.
no love like a mother's love,
There's-
unless your mother didn't love you. In which case, I'm sorry.
I'm
That's
lucky. My mother did and does.
Yeah,
love
your
me.
mother has a lot of love.
My mom has a lot of love. She's a very loving person, and
nice.
has done a lot of things for me that I'm like, God, I don't know if I could ever do that for someone.
You could.
Yeah, I think I could, but I can't. I guess because that person doesn't exist now. Like I don't have a child.
Sorry.
But that child might exist.
Yes, and then I would step into it. But just thinking about it now,
You don't even have to try. It just happens. I tell my kids all the time, which is like, maybe this is crazy, but I was like, my last bite of food, I'll give it to you. My last sip of water, it's yours. I will lay down my life for you. And they're like, okay.
So,
They don't get that yet.
okay, so I had a revelation
Oh.
in London.
Uh-huh.
I was at this party, and it was 3 a.m, and I had just arrived that morning.
Yeah.
And everyone started doing poppers, and I was like,
God.
time for me to lay down. So I go to the Wikipedia because I don't really know what to do on my phone because I don't really have any apps.
Yeah.
I'm not like an effective internet user.
Me neither.
And I look up the synopsis of Sophie's Choice, and I was horrified.
You've never seen the movie.
I've never seen the movie to find out that bitch made a choice.
I know.
That is the choice that Sophie has to make.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I don't know about
That is the dilemma of the movie.
Yeah, but I thought she wouldn't make a choice. Like it reminds me of that biblical story about the woman.
Cutting
split
the
them,
two
yeah.
babies. Yeah.
Oh, no, the
one
two
baby,
mothers, yeah.
Two mothers each are claiming
Yes.
the rights over the child, and then the real mother because she's the one who tells the king to stop when he says, well, we could just cut the baby in half.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I feel like some mothers have to try.
To choose? Wait.
Try to love. That the love doesn't just naturally
Yeah.
flow out of them.
It feels deeper than like love. Do you know what I mean?
It's primal.
more elemental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would literally kill anybody who came at my children.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt in my mind. I was watching a prison movie last night. Oh, I watched Roof Man.
I've never seen it.
It's
I haven't either.
whatever. I actually have a really funny story about that director, but I'll tell it a different time. Derek Sheehan, France. But I was like, yeah, I would go to prison for the rest of my life. For my children. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'll do anything. A woman. I can't speak for men and what they'll do, but a woman.
Is that a critical babe theory?
that women will do anything for their children, but men will not.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to marinate on that one a little
Okay.
bit.
I think it's sort of true because you can just kind of spread your seed.
Honestly, you've done biology's work.
Yeah.
Just by
Pump and dump.
by coming hard, hopefully. Sarah's like, my ears, my virgin ears.
She's the same too.
Yeah, totally.
Stop.
But you're gonna go to heaven now.
No, bitches. Guess what? I was misinformed.
You were misinformed about the Jubilee year?
I was misinformed. It is explicitly not a get out of jail free card. What the hell? I waited in so many lines.
I thought it was that easy.
I went to Rome. And yeah, like it's the Jubilee year, which I thought, okay, Jubilee, go straight to heaven.
Yeah.
You know? But then I was reading, it's so confusing. It's very vague. And they were saying, oh, it's actually, you just get special grace for like sins that you've already been absolved
You're
for.
like, bitch, I already have grace. I don't need more special grace.
Yeah, the whole thing felt very, I don't know. Like, why are you okay, so there's these doors in Rome, okay? And they only open them for Jubilee years. And then if you walk through the door, I thought you literally get to go to heaven. Like, you don't have to go to purgatory.
Well, that seems like a Ponzi scheme if you can just afford to get there.
Well, that's the
and,
Catholic Church,
I know.
Molly.
Again, number 4 about me. I am Jewish. I don't really understand.
You used to be able to buy indulgences, which is you could just pay the church and then you would have all your sins forgiven and go to heaven.
After, okay, I was gonna, this is gonna come out next week, but I'll talk about Rome now. There are still indulgences. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I had an anger attack at the Vatican because I was in Rome and I was like, I gotta see everything. So I was walking 10 miles a day. I'm like, by the time I get to the Vatican City, all these like hot Italian men keep yelling at me, which I don't mind because they're hot, but I keep, having American faux pas. Mostly because just when people would talk to me, I'd just be like, see, and then I would like misinform them. But yeah, so as my Italian tour guide informed me, the gladiators used to fight at the Colosseum and now the tour guides fight at the Vatican. Okay. So there's all these tour guides walking around with their little stick with rags on it. And they're fighting and it's just people are being very rude, pushy, etc. So I'm like, okay, I go to, I'm getting ushered around the Sistine Chapel. There's like, we're packed in like sardines. I'm not really having time to appreciate it.
Yeah, the sublimity. Yeah.
And I'm also very disturbed because before we went in, my tour guide was teaching us about the Sistine Chapel on a screen where you could like zoom in on stuff. Have you ever looked closely at Eve on the Sistine Chapel?
No, what's up? She has a little pot belly?
No.
Oh.
She has literally Adam's body. Like they have the same bodies because he wasn't allowed to paint a naked woman.
Oh.
So she literally is ripped. Like completely ripped with like a female bodybuilder but with a man's waist. It's insane.
Is it kind of like the Ken situation, the Kendall situation? There's just like nothing down there. It's just like blank.
Well, she's like kind of like sitting down, so you can't
okay.
see, but you just like this like completely jacked Eve.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I was just like, yo, the Catholic Church hates women.
Yeah. Thank God I'm an Anglican now.
But the last thing I'll say, well, I could go on, but we have other more important things to talk about. But the last thing I'll say is, okay, so I'm like, get me the hell out of here. I'm sorry, but I'm done. I'm exhausted. I'm about to get my period. I have to walk through, I kid you not, literally 7 gift shops to get the hell out of there.
Are we surprised?
There are 300 euro rosaries. Okay,
Wow.
not even blessed. Not even blessed. These are just...
Straight up rosaries.
Okay, there are signs everywhere that say this area is under surveillance, literally like on the postcard racks, okay? If Jesus went to the Vatican gift shop, you know what he would be doing?
What? He would be casting it down. He'd be casting the vendors out of the temple, right?
Absolutely. Flipping tables.
Flipping tables, yeah.
And it was just grotesque.
Wow.
I'm going to be honest. I found it to be grotesque. I had a lot of beautiful spiritual experiences in Rome at other church, at other churches, but I found the Vatican to be gaudy, capitalist, and frankly, would not be approved by Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Wow. Are you not a papist anymore, Sarah? You don't have to answer that right now. You can just sit with that.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess in spirit versus practice is 2 different things. But also, who funds the Vatican? I guess that's a dumb question. But is like all Catholic churches like have to be?
They don't need to worry about anything. They own more
paid-
real estate than anybody.
literally $50 for this tour.
Oh, okay, sure, but
They
don't
know
pay
about how much money
taxes.
the Catholic Church has.
oh, surely I know that. But what real estate? No,
Literally, the Catholic Church
Every
owns real
single
estate everywhere.
church.
No, but they also just own a ton of real
Okay.
estate.
No,
in
I
general.
don't know this.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
actually
huge landowners.
very naive in terms of all things Catholicism. I
They
really
have
don't
so
understand
much
any
money.
of it.
They have so much money. So much money.
Well, okay, yeah.
The art, the money, the gold, the silk. They have it all.
And I was like, you know what? The Vatican would be a beautiful and special place, even if you took all the objects out, because you still have the walls, and everything's painted and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, some of this shit, like, sell it and give that money to the poor.
Give the money to the poor.
They
Yeah.
are
on.
practicing what they're preaching. So.
Absolutely. I digress. That's my critical babe theory for the
Yeah.
week. Vatican didn't enjoy my
Wow.
experience. I did. I learned.
Wow.
I did like some of the stuff I saw, but gaudy and grotesque.
Whoa. Wow.
Molly, what's your critical babe theory?
Well, I had one, but now this feels maybe I should do something that's on this topic, which is okay. So I was raised Jewish.
Yeah.
And I did not understand that hell was something that was a part of doctrine. Like I thought it was like a thing that was in cartoons, like Bikini Bottom. Like it was like a fake place.
Like from SpongeBob.
Literally, I thought it was just like a thing that was
Oh,
in
right, 'cause
cartoons.
there is no hell.
There's
in
no hell.
Judaism.
And it was like kind of late. Like I was maybe like in 6th or 7th grade maybe a little earlier than that, when I learned that hell was something that was like a thing people feared. And I guess this is not that out of a take that I don't believe in it or that I don't think it's real.
Yeah.
But I get a lot of discomfort and just straight up confusion to hear that people like live their life fearing this thing and making choices simply to not go there. And I guess I think that the Christianity is a scheme.
You know what? Can I take a theological tack against that?
Yeah.
Personally, right, there's this part where Christ, I don't know where it is in the New Testament, Christ says, like, the kingdom of heaven is at hand, right? Which, like, I've always taken to be, like, the kingdom of heaven is at hand, right? It's right here, right? So I guess if I was going to extend that eschatologically, you could also say that hell, right, is also right here.
That I
It is
agree
right,
with is
yeah.
our own experiences
Yeah.
to create.
Yes.
But that this afterlife of like only if you believe, like you have to pay to make your way, you have to walk through this door to make your way.
Yeah, but
That
actually, is that scripturally based, or is that just like sort of a event? Is that just like a?
Oh, surely it's the latter.
Well, I
And
also
guess
just
that's
made
why.
it up in my head because I found out that it actually doesn't guarantee that I go to heaven. But yes.
But would you want to believe in a religion in which that was the case? Like you have
Well, everybody wants to believe in heaven, Molly, and if you're gonna believe in heaven, I guess you sort of have to believe in its opposite. So, what do the Jews believe?
nothing. No, that it's that your divinity and that the more good you do in life will bring you closer to a righteousness. That everyone experiences heaven or whatever it is called, the kingdom, or just being close to God. But that like if you do good in your life, you will have more holiness in your life and those that come after you.
But is there an afterlife explicitly?
Yes, there is. I don't know if I necessarily believe it, though. I don't know.
I'm not asking what you believe. I'm
It's a
asking-
place where people are just kind of all chilling.
Yeah, like everyone gets access.
Everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I think what I was saying though is, do you want to believe in a structure in which you can just pay to walk through a door? And I guess I'm.
well, for sure, yeah. If I could go to heaven forever, and I just had to pay to walk through a door,
But that means
that would be
anyone,
great.
anyone could.
Yeah, but shouldn't we be egalitarian here, Molly?
Well, that's what I'm
Doesn't
saying.
Everyone
That's
deserves to
what-
go to heaven.
That's what I feel. Yes, indeed.
But we're saying only people who can pay
Yeah.
maybe deserve, if you're
No,
going to look at it in a Catholic perspective.
I guess I just felt like a chump.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, why did I stand in this line
Yeah.
and go through security, submit to the carceral state, the police state of the Vatican
Cover
City?
my shoulders.
Yeah, to walk through this door. And then, I was trying to have a moment with Francis.
Yeah.
And this guy's like yelling at me to, move it along.
Yeah. This might be a function of it being a Jubilee year, because I've been to the Vatican multiple times, and that's not been my experience. But maybe because
Still
it's
had
just
to
not.
wait in line, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
like
but not
this.
that. It wasn't quite as
People were having
crowded.
moments. People were definitely having their moments.
Yeah. I mean, it might have just also been me
No,
that I was
a
in
Jubilee year
bad
sounds
mood.
packed.
It was packed. Yeah, a lot of
hate a packed
nuns
anything.
in sandals and socks.
I love nuns.
Cardinal sin.
I love nuns wherever I see them.
No, I do kind of love nuns. as well.
Driving nuns. Those are my favorite ones in driving cars.
Yeah, it feels like an antithesis in a weird way, where you're like,
Yeah.
what are they doing?
She of no agency. She who has married herself to Christ. I feel like you could be a nun.
Didn't you want to be? Is that, am I?
When I was 7 years old, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I wanted to be when I was 7? I wanted to win the Nobel Prize for Literature.
You still might, baby.
You already knew that? Really? That's wonderful.
Wow.
I worshipped the gods of ambition from
Yeah.
a young age.
I mean, I would say similarly. So.
Yeah. It takes all kinds.
Well, I guess that brings us to the topic of today,
Yeah, totally.
which is Francesca
and Molly.
and Molly are producing a play.
Yeah.
Putting up a play, and you can see it.
Yeah.
You should see it. It's going to be, I feel 100% assured in saying it will be deeply entertaining.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I think
that's-
entertaining and interesting, like whatever.
Like
you
it'll
may
kind of
feel,
fuck you up a little bit.
It's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting and entertaining for sure.
Yeah, so if you were considering going to Rome for the Jubilee year,
Don't.
save your dollars and make a pilgrimage to Manhattan.
To Studio 17.
Yeah, so I guess should we talk about what the play is? Okay.
yeah.
So the play is called Escalation Time, and it's about two married Columbia professors who soon after October 7th unexpectedly realize they're on opposite sides of the campus protest movements. And so it's looking at the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but through the lens of this one married couple who are obviously they're not in Gaza, they're not in Israel. They
I
are
think important to note, they are white.
They
They're
are white
academics. It is
people
that lens
in
of
New York City.
Yeah, the theorists, the people, the intellectuals, and how they.
Are grappling
Yes,
with it.
yes.
But basically it's
Very
this-
topical.
Yes. So it's how the conflict plays out in this, and ultimately what happens in this specific marriage.
Can you talk a little bit about your inspiration for the play?
I think I can.
Wait, I'm going to listen, but I'm also going to go to my bag and get my nicotine lozenges.
Oh, that's so great. My inspiration is right after October 7th, I was typing on my little computer, and I was writing a letter to my representative, and I was just saying something along the lines of please temper your support for Israel with a demand that Israel not commit war crimes in Gaza. And at the time, I guess he wasn't quite my ex-husband yet. At the time, he saw me writing that over my shoulder, and he stopped. And he looked at me and he was like, you couldn't stay with Jewish suffering just a little bit longer? And suddenly this kind of whole world opened up you know, where I just realized that there's all these things about him that I hadn't, and about the way he sees the world that I hadn't really understood. And so I guess for me, the play is about, that was like the initial inspiration. But then what the play was about is like, you know, when you're in a marriage or in any relationship, even a familial relationship, where it's like we sort of assume, or I have assumed, that there's a shared foundation, like a shared moral foundation, a shared ethical framework of the world, and then finding that that suddenly was not true, and having that like rug pulled out, and then how do we grapple with that when we're not on the same page with those we're really close to? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think this issue uniquely affects like people who otherwise share the same politics, like a lot of liberal, educated New Yorkers have experienced this rift in their communities, in their relationships. And I know, Molly, that you have experienced that firsthand.
Yeah, and I think it's common now too, like most of the people that I know that are our age grew up in a pretty Zionist home. Just like it's like the ground floor, whatever it is. You know, it's just like the way that you were taught. And I never knew anything else until I went to college. And then I was like, oh my God, what? And I know a lot of people similarly who like, you know, you're just raised in this space and think this one thing. And then the first time there's a riff, like I went to the riff and I went through and I wanted to explore that. But I know a lot of other people who are like, oh no, I can't engage with that. And so the people that I know now who are still pretty Zionist, like they just don't engage in conversations. Rather than, I think a lot of the things I've been seeing on social media, people like yelling and screaming at each other. It's like I instead have experienced the opposite, where it's like it's almost like it doesn't exist.
We don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it.
And I think that was the idea of the play, is that because I wrote the play, so I'm the playwright, and Molly is directing it. And my idea with the play is that I really did want to like have both sides feel very equally weighty. And so I did a lot of, because I was naturally more inclined on the pro-Palestinian, that like captured my sympathies, I went really deep into researching the history of Israel. Because it was important to me to like really, not just intellectually feel it, but like really get into like the deep bone feelings of both sides. And I feel like the play, I mean, we would love you to be the judge of it. Come and see. But I feel like the play does a good job of trying to really live in these like visceral, in a lot of ways, like not rational positions that both sides take.
Definitely, like it's and something I've been saying to people, it's like it's not about the objective truth of it, is that the emotional sides are equally weighted, and what you believe, there's space for all of it, because it is showing the truth of two emotional sides.
There's like an emotional depth, and that's the thing, is you can't as much as I try sometimes, you can't just say that somebody's like emotional truth isn't real based on X, Y, and Z fact. You know what I mean? That's unfortunately just not how things work. You know?
Right.
And so trying to really go there. And I feel like the play succeeds.
I think so. Yeah. And so it runs November 7th through 23rd.
So coming up soon. But we'll we'll put all the details in the show notes. And I think we can even put like, if you're listening and you want to come, we'll put like a show code so that you can get a discount code.
Critical Babe Theory show code.
But it's like, I guess, which this sort of does tie into what we're doing, obviously, on Critical Babe Theory. But Molly and I have been working together for how many years now?
About 2 years, I think.
And we've worked on a number of different projects that are all explicitly pretty political. And I feel like we founded a theater company that, like, our goal is to make explicitly political work, but that's not like soapbox work. Where we're like, this is what, because I feel like there's so much theater that's like just woke shames or something, or preaches to the choir.
But then the opposite end, it's not meant to be protest theater, because that's something I always do too. It's like, oh, well, are you protesting something? We're like, no, actually, and even if we can believe in one thing, we still believe it's important to like have discourse that comes from a place of humanity. And like even the other play you've written that is really explosive and aggressive, it still sort of sets out that like we're all just trying to be people, and we're all just trying to make decisions that we think are going to cause, I hope, the least amount of harm, even if that is not how the other person receives it. Right? It's like, I'm just trying to protect myself and my family, or whatever it is.
Well, I want to dig into two different things. One is like, what's so cool about what you're doing, and as someone who comes from a theater background, like I studied theater in college, like so much theater that we see on Broadway and off Broadway, it's been workshopped. It's been like in the works for so long. It has to go through a lot of institutional gatekeeping situations. And ultimately, it ends up like rarely being timely in the way that your work is. And so I think it's really cool that you're able to pull this off. And I was wondering, like, if you could talk about your experience doing basically indie theater in this town that barely exists at this point, because I know, like, in the 70s, for example, when my dad was like coming up in the theater scene, like, everybody had a space. Everybody, like, the city was kind of in shambles, so like everybody had their own theater space, and they were just putting up so much work. And now I can think of like basically one person in New York doing that, besides you guys.
Yeah. Totally.
I know who you're talking about.
I mean, it's funny because we were with my kids the other night, and like my kids, I picked them up from school, but then we were like still working, and the girls were kind of like, "Why are you working?" You know, and I was telling them in front of Molly, I was like,
"We're doing what no one can do."
I was like, "What we're doing, nobody's doing. Nobody can do this, but we're doing it. You know why? Because it's risky." And it's hard, and because we're not pussies.
Well, she didn't
say
that.
that.
You said not scared.
But we're not scared.
And then you turned around, you started typing, and they looked at me, and I was like, she's right.
It's true. And I do want to say, like, my larger thought is, like, so much work goes through, like, this endless workshop hell, all this institutional, like, support and stuff, which is, like, but I guess my experience is like, I'm just tired. I think it's 2025. It's time for people to like not be pussies anymore.
Well, I'm just tired of waiting for people to give me an opportunity. And that's something that we talked a lot about is like, we did a reading of the play almost a year ago in your apartment.
And it was explosive.
It was explosive. There were people who were like, you cannot do this. And then some people, you were there.
Yes, and I got attacked for being pro-Israel, which I most certainly am not. Yeah, no, people were on fire.
Yeah. And, you know, we sort of walked away from it being like, okay, maybe we do need to, like, let it cool. And then this summer, we were sitting just talking. We were like, no, I think we have to do this.
We just have to do this. Also, but I feel like we read the room. I feel like a year ago, we would have both permanently been blacklisted for doing this as being anti-Semitic. And then it's so funny. I was talking to somebody a month ago who, like, a year ago, he was like, if you do this play, you will be labeled as anti-Semitic and never work again. And then I talked to him again. He was like, you cannot do this play. It is too pro-Israel. And I was like,
can't play them all, baby.
I was like, I can't win. And also, I was like, this is me getting on my high horse. This is not how art is made. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't do a temperature check with everybody to get permission.
Be how it's made. And I was talking to someone a couple of days ago, too, I was telling them about this, and they were like, I'm so excited for you. And I said, I'm like, in truth, I'm a little scared. I'm going to upset people. And as you've said many times, it's like, that's not a thing. That's a good thing to be scared. Like, it's a good thing to drive us. Like, I don't want to make something that I'm tempering so that I please everyone.
Yeah, but see, my takeaway from the reading we did, because like everybody was pissed, like from the pro-Israel to the pro-Palestine, I was like, oh, it's working. Yeah. If everybody's angry, then we're not just trying to pacify or please different sides. Like, we're trying to bring actual issues up, because the issues obviously are deep and intense, you know?
Yeah, and I remember we saw a show at the Public. I can't even remember the
Ally,
name.
Bite You to Mimosas. I also saw it as well.
Yeah, which basically it was.
I'm outing the play.
No, it's fine. But this was like in 2023, or
it was. It was.
No, we saw
January,
it in like December. Didn't we say December? No, maybe you're right. Maybe it was January or February.
Of 2024.
Yeah.
It was January of 2024. Yeah.
So it was about this Jewish professor who has this, like, signs on to be part of some student group, and they, like, have this kind of sweeping anti-oppression statement that includes being, like, in support of Palestine's struggle. And he signs on to it, and then there's kind of like backlash, and he's kind of having a reckoning with like his own Zionism, but it's like the most
milk toast,
lukewarm reckoning, you know? And I kid you not, people in the audience were literally talking back to the actors. I've never seen anyone behave that way in a theater in New York City. And these were clearly people that this was not their first play. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just say it's like older, probably Jewish people, because that's who attends New York City theater, and I'm as a person who supports New York City theater, I'm grateful for them. But I remember someone was like, you know, like someone in the play was like, you know, the IDF is shooting at them, and like they're they're throwing like it's just kids throwing rocks, and someone goes, well, it's not exactly kids throwing rocks. And I was like,
like loud, really loud.
This is a theater. Shh. Francesca actually really aggressively shushed them.
If you talk, I don't care. If you talk in any theater for an extended amount of time, I'm gonna get up in your face about it. It's just like, it's not done.
You're gonna like Patti LuPone them in Gypsy. Stop the show.
I actually did it not that long ago. Yeah, I was in a movie. It was different, but I was in the Spike Jonze's new Spike Lee joint. The new Spike Lee joint.
Yeah,
right?
those are two different people.
I know. Spike Jonze is the her dude.
Yes.
You were
great.
You were in Spike Lee's new movie?
No. I was in the theater watching it. And this like old white couple literally was just having a regular ass conversation through the whole movie. Regular volume. And I kept looking at them, and I really wanted to throw something at them. I'm really into like shakes. I did the stare. They didn't notice it. So finally, I was like, shh, are you capable of not talking? You know what I mean? And it worked.
Sorry, then I was just worried about the mic.
I love when you see something and people just have a response where they're like, oh, she's going to kill him. You know, like something like, or I saw The Wild Duck at Tafana, and someone was like, she's going to kill herself.
Yeah, but that's different.
I love that. And I always just laugh. I saw a show, Summit, recently, and I won't out what the play is, that I did like, but I was sitting, it was the final preview, and I was sitting behind this row of, you know, the old biddies, probably the old Jews that have seen lots of things. And there's this first part in the play where they're doing all this direct address. So they're like, I play this person, I'm going to play this person. God. And it works for the type of play it is. But this one woman turns to her friend and goes, we've seen all of this before. And I was like, Doris?
I mean, I appreciate that.
She just was like, oh, we've seen all. And it was so funny. And I was like, it's true.
I sort of feel like I understand the instinct to like throw tomatoes. Do you know what I mean? Back in Shakespeare, to like throw stuff at actors and stuff. Like when I see dishonest acting, which is, weren't you going to talk about standing ovations?
Yeah, well, I guess, I have a lot to say about this topic, about theater that mandates participation beyond spiritual and mental participation. But yes, I think we have gone way too far with the standing ovations. We need to reel it back in. They've become meaningless.
Oh,
they have
completely
no meaning. So I have never given a standing ovation ever in my life.
I have given a few when I think it's deserving.
Okay, but let me tell you. So then literally I will often be the only person sitting down. And then I saw a show. I'll out it. It doesn't matter. I saw Stereophonic when it was on Broadway.
Amazing show.
Amazing show. I was in the first row. So I was like right there with the actors, and everybody got up to give it a standing ovation. And you guys, this is what's so sick. I wanted to so bad, but all of my years of being, what do you call me? A contrarian. I literally couldn't get up. So all the cast was like right there looking at me as I was just sitting, and the entire house was standing up. And then I was like, there's something wrong with me.
And you like know a couple of members of the cast.
And I knew a bunch of members of the cast.
That's ice cold, Francesca. I don't take it that far.
I will say, I directed a play last year, and I didn't stand up. And actually, one time after one of my cast members came up to me and was like, we were trying to find you after to give you flowers, and we couldn't see you. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's probably because I was like just sitting. You didn't stand up. We got a standing ovation on closing night. And I was like,
it doesn't mean anything. Here's what it is.
I will give my friends, if I know people in the play, I will give them a standing
ovation. That actually makes it reason to not, because then I'm like, it means nothing.
Only give us a standing ovation if you feel it from your heart. That's what I want. I wish everybody was just honest. I'm
obviously gonna give you a standing ovation.
Don't do it, man. I want it to be, because that's the thing, is like, I'm so full of myself. This is actually similar. So after I was on Succession, I was talking to one of my friends, I was talking to a random person, and they were like, oh my God, I saw you on Succession. They were like, that role, they were like, you were iconic. But I'd been living in the woods for so long, I didn't realize that the word iconic had like changed into this colloquial usage where it's used like Staples will be like the iconic place to get your new school supplies. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that it had become like completely meaningless. So this person said to me, they were like, you were iconic. And I was like, oh my God. I like had this whole moment. Little did I realize that that's a word that people just throw around constantly. So I'm so full of myself. I want my compliments to be deep and rare and deserved.
Same.
Right. You're thinking like, okay, if you're calling me iconic, then it's going to be like you're going to have like an icon of me in every room of your house, like the Russian church, you know?
I just mean like, I just thought it meant
had
something.
weight. It had real weight
It had
to it,
depth
yeah.
and weight, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
I would say you kind of were. I mean, you weren't, but the bag was, right?
I
The
know.
moment was.
That's
Sorry.
so much worse.
No, but it's being truthful. And so therefore,
Your
like,
prop was iconic.
the prop became a thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't the most stylish people of the year
Yeah.
or the bag,
Yeah.
but it was a picture of me.
It was.
I know. I was talking to my friend who's like, bitch, if you were in New York right now, you'd be invited to every party. But alone, instead I was just like on my knees cleaning my floors by myself upstate.
Thank
which is
God you're
fine.
back.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure I've said this before, but I had this revelation when I was living upstate. I was like, I'm too good looking and too interesting to be up here.
No, you loved it for its time.
Balance is necessary. You have to leave them wanting more. You gotta leave them.
know.
Thank God, though.
No, but there was a point where we were like, we got to get this girl out of here.
I know. It was like a rescue. It was like a SWAT team SEAL rescue mission.
Yeah, I remember.
It was literally Sarah swapped in her fucking helicopter and came in, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, to be a theater artist today, it's hard. You got to be basically in New York City and like, there's
And
not.
you also have to be shameless.
Yeah.
I think that's what I've really loved about this phase of my life where I'm just like totally shameless. Not in a way with no energy. There's nothing like shameless with total neutrality. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll email or call anyone and ask them for anything. And if they say no, I don't care.
Yeah, I would like to emulate that. I'm not there yet. Like, for example, I won't let my husband tell my in-laws that I have a podcast because I'm like, I don't want them to judge me.
I think that's fair also. It feels like it's something that, you're not ready to tell everyone about.
They have such a high opinion of me. I don't want to ruin it.
Sarah, this will only raise their opinion of you.
I don't know. They're like hardworking Canadians. You know what I mean?
You work really hard.
But so I guess if anybody has any connection to any literary agents, I'm trying to get my novel
And
published.
speak it.
So good.
Speak it.
Yeah,
It's so
so
good.
hit me up.
Because I think you
That's
could
my-
be a voice, the voice or a
voice
voice of a generation.
Thank you. Okay, so back to the topic at hand, though. Okay, so how do we feel about shows that require audience participation?
I think it's really about like how do you set up the frame of the rules of engagement, right? When you go to see something like Sleep No More and they onboard you and you get these masks and all that kind of stuff, like that is very clear.
Fun.
And you are signing up for that because
Yeah.
that is part of the experience. I have a lot less desire and comfort to go to a place where then I have to like get pulled up without my knowledge or consent.
I don't even want to be seen.
Yeah.
I want to be completely anonymous.
That's why I hate improv shows. Oh my God.
I
can't
know.
go. I cannot go. And I have a lot of friends that are like high up in the improv world.
I think improv kind of sucks.
And I'm always like, I'm so sorry.
I
can't.
support you going to your improv class, making friends,
Yes.
like getting
Oh,
out of the apartment, but
yeah.
I'm not going to come to the show because
100%. The amount of non-theater friends I have that are like, oh, I just want to meet people and I want to be more. I'm like, just take an improv class. Just go take a class and then you'll meet people and you'll talk to people and you'll have fun. But I'm not going to come see your final presentation.
I know. I had to take improv because there was a time when the agents in New York, they all required you to be good at improv. It was like all these really tragic, it was just tragic across the board.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, in the town I grew up in, the improv kids were kind of cool.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
But
really weird.
we lived in kind of like an artsy offbeat town.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I also was like in the theater scene, so maybe it was my impression of like all the straight guys did improv. So I was like, oh, like it's
like,
cool to
oh.
do improv.
I was really deeply immersed in theater too as a high schooler, but actually I have a funny story. Maybe I'll tell that and we can ask you about how you got into directing. But I remember I had done theater starting in like, I don't know, 5th or 6th grade. And I was like, it was great. I was always the lead in the play. And then we did Anne Frank. And they didn't
My dream.
cast me as Anne Frank. And I'd always had the lead. And I was like, I'm sorry. Why am I not playing Anne? And they
Were you
cast-
Margot?
No, I played the mom, but it was great.
Yeah.
It was like I could really bring the gravity to the role as a 13-year-old. But
Was it because you weren't Jewish?
I mean, I wonder now when I look back, but at the time, because they chose Sarah Estelle, who
Was she Jewish?
yeah, but I don't think she went forward to an illustrious theater career or anything.
Yeah,
anyway, I was so
sometimes you
offended.
gotta check a box.
I know. Anyway, but then after that, I started being a dancer when I went to this other high school, and this was crazy. I had these there was like these really amazing theater artists at my high school because I went to this crazy hippie art school, and there was this one. Everybody like really loved the play. Like getting into the play was a big deal. So then all the people who were not theater people started trying to get into the play, and they didn't want to turn anybody down. So they were doing the Odyssey, and there was one scene, and 100 people were allowed in the play, and there was one scene where all 100 cast members were going to be on the stage, and the director Rob, who was like this really fab. He's actually not gay, which is kind of amazing. But this really fab. Imagine a really fab gay man with like no hair who's really like this, and he didn't want to deal with all the actors, 100 of them, who were mostly just random kids who wanted to go to the cast party. That's it, because the cast party was like fucking lit, you know?
Yeah.
So he gave me, because I had a dance background and I was doing choreography at the time, I was in charge of the 100-person scene. He was like, this scene, you have a vision, you do it. So I come to rehearsal.
Was the stage, how big was the stage?
It was like a huge, it was like it was like a private school. Fancy hippie art school. And so first I come to rehearsal and I have like 100 kids, and the first day like nobody listens to me. Like I'm screaming, I'm yelling, nobody listens to me. So I was like, okay, I like took it in. I was like, I've got to have a new technique. So the next rehearsal I showed up, I wore all black, head to toe, turtleneck pants, and I ratted out my hair. So I was like Tina Turner, and I had like huge hair, and I was in all black. And from that point forward, everybody listened to me.
You gotta dress the part.
All the time. And I pulled off the choreography of the only 100-person scene in the play.
That's
Nice.
iconic. Dare I say it?
And you stopped there.
And I stopped there. Yeah, because I was like, this is insane. I was like, I don't want to deal with this many people. Do you know what I mean?
That's too many people.
That's too
Yeah,
many people.
that's like more than any professional production ever, even in London. Do you know what I mean?
Well, operas, which is
Yes, it was
where
like
I've worked in
opera-sized.
Yeah. And they don't really, you sort of, you have a stage director, you have a music director, and then you have a kind of another form of the artistic director. But the people who direct those, you only have one job, either to work with the singers or to work with the supers who just kind of move. And they just sort of stand there. And I used to work in the opera, and I would be like, this is so boring. But so many people, so much money.
Opera really is so boring.
It's so boring. I'm an opera lover, and I went to see some Wagner, and I was like, I'm literally falling asleep right now.
It's not great.
Do we think that opera will exist
No.
for the next generation?
Yeah, so Glimmer Glass and there's another festival are the new opera kind of pipeline. And there are a lot of people, especially now of like, you think about like operettas or musicals that are sung through that are sort of being considered in the opera world.
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, I mean, that's a rock opera, but yeah, definitely. And like, I mean, Les Mis and I guess Phantom are like sung through musicals. Rent, yes, exactly. And there's this one musical opera, it was called Blue, that was supposed to be done at the Kennedy Center when I was working at the Washington National Opera the spring of 2020, and it was about police brutality within like a family in the South, like a black family. It was like 6 people, all modern dress, everything, and it's beautiful. But then obviously 2020 happened, but there are things they're trying to like make it in a more theatrical way that is more approachable, that like the music has a relationship to the story as opposed to just like we are singing, like boring. Yeah.
Well, I recently read Anna Karenina, as you may remember.
I remember. Yeah.
And yeah, because they're always going to the opera, but they're fully talking, socializing.
Well, that's what it
during
used to be.
Yeah.
Like you would go there to be seen, and you would go to talk to people. I mean, same with the ballet too. They were raucous environments.
I know, that sounds kind of fun. But I think we should bring that because the other things, because we were talking about like walking out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so yeah. So where do you stand on leaving at intermission?
I have done it twice. One time it was like a college production of Waiting for Godot, that I was like, I will kill myself if I have to stay here.
If I have to keep waiting.
Yeah, truly. And I've seen many productions, but the other one that I walked out of, I just couldn't. It was so bad. Was The Music Man, that they did the revival. I got a free ticket to see Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman.
Wow.
I think it was also the environment. It was like a Saturday night. I went with some friends who we all got free tickets because we knew someone in like the standby or whatever. And we were all spread out because we got house seats. And I was sitting next to all these like tourists who I think, sure, maybe they'd never seen something before, but came there to see Hugh Jackman. And they were just like, I don't know. I was just looking around and I was like, this is shit. This is stupid. This is spectacle. And I don't want to sit here anymore. And I like got up the moment the like claps for the end, and I was like, I'm out of here.
You guys, I literally will walk out of shows not at intermission, just in the middle.
I've done that once.
I've done that at least 5 to 10 times in the last 10 years.
I've done it at the venue I work at, where I can kind of pretend that it's
no. I'll straight up, like, I have been
Yeah.
in St. Anne's Warehouse in the bleachers and gotten up and left in the middle of the show.
Yeah, fair.
Did you guys see Weather Girl?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I think that it was a really interesting script, and I think that the actor was incredible.
I gave her a standing O.
Yeah, that is something I didn't stand, but I would like, she deserved that. I bet that the original production in Edinburgh is probably a little more visceral. I think that it was like too over theatricalized. Like all of the light changes, all of these things, it felt like some of the humanity and like her discoveries were stripped out because every moment was so choreographed that I felt like it was like a little over directed. But I really enjoyed the content, and she was amazing. She's 26, 27.
Yeah, my husband was having a crisis because he is so unfamiliar with like what it's like theater in general. Like he never did theater in elementary school or anything. So like he saw that and he was like such despair because he felt like she was like at the top of her craft. And you know that he as a lawyer is like not at the top of his craft. And I was like, yeah, she was really good.
Yeah, no, she's got a career ahead of her. Don't you worry.
For sure. But
Julie's
like
gonna be fine.
he was like, the only other person I think could do that role is you. I was like, that's why you're married to me.
But I have a deep feeling about the end of the play. They made the wrong choice. She poured the water. No, she needed to pour the water on herself.
Or drink it.
Drink, but on herself. I was like, why are you pouring it on? It's you. You are the thing. And I literally, the lights happened to her, and I turned to my friend. I was like, that was the wrong choice.
I know, that's the worst, when they make the wrong choice.
Like the button of the play. And that's what I feel, where these like moments where it was like, it just felt so choreographed to the point where, and maybe, you know, I saw it on like a Tuesday night, but I liked it. It's very of the moment. The style of the play is very like, people are doing those types of things.
Well, you gotta, because like musicals aren't making any money on Broadway. You gotta do like a one-woman show and do it.
Yeah.
But that falling on a budget.
That kind of like cut style thing too is very like of now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The theatrical language that is now.
Totally. So how did you get into directing?
I grew up in a family where playing an instrument was required, not playing a sport. So I was put into piano lessons when I was like 3, and then I was also in dance lessons when I was young. I'm also a dancer. I've danced most of my life. And then when I was like 5 or 6, I got put into voice lessons, singing, and then just kind of the pipeline of musical theater happened. And then I was like, gonna be a musical theater star. And then I went to Shakespeare camp when I was in high school in Virginia. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it, most of the people in my life that are dearest to me are still my Shakespeare camp friends. And I realized there were like, I wanted to make stories that mattered. I wanted to tell meaningful stories. And so I did go to school for acting. My undergrad I got a BNFA in acting. My undergrad degrees are insane. I got a BFA in acting, where I double majored in costume construction with a vocal performance minor and a film production minor.
Oh my God.
Busy girl.
Yeah, I'm an overachiever.
She's got, you two are maybe the most executive functioning people ever.
I can just like send emails. That's really it.
I can move people around and send emails. But even when I was in college, I just felt really like unfulfilled by acting, and I was working with
That's why you did all of those extra things,
exactly.
Perhaps.
And I was like doing my own things, and I got to direct on the main stage my senior year of college, was really exciting. And I was working with this one director. His name is Yuri. He's the artistic director of the Wilma. Incredible director. And I was working on a show with him, and I kept like arguing. He's Russian, and like off the boat Russian. Like
Yeah.
a very like, you know, from that school of like the director does everything. He stands on stage, he walks the part, he says everything and then tells you what to do. And I was like, I got it, but I was like, I want to be a part of this process, not as just an actor. Like I want to talk with you. And he was like, I think maybe you're a director. I was like, really, Gary? And then I just started assisting people. Like in 2018, 2019, I started trying to assist people, but I was working as an actor then. A lot of times I would email someone being like, hey, I saw you're announced to do the show. Can I come and assist you? And they'd be like, actually, can you audition? And I was like, no, I don't wanna.
Were you in Philly?
No, DC, Baltimore.
Oh, the Wilma's in...
The Wilma is in Philly,
Okay.
but he was one of my professors. He's also he works a lot at Woolly Mammoth. Like he lives in Maryland.
Wait, where did you go to school?
Towson.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Baltimore, so I
Okay.
didn't stray too far. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know you went to Georgetown.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends in where we know Derek and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But then COVID hit, and I just started doing my own things, and I moved to New York in the middle of COVID, which was dumb, but here I am, and have
And
been
you
like,
love it.
I do love it. It was always sort of the dream, and I made it happen. And yeah, I don't want to act. Just in case anyone's wondering. And I very much want to keep directing. Yeah.
Well, and it's really cool the way that you have been doing kind of this, like the indie theater, the guerrilla theater. But sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask you is how do you feel about Shakespeare? Because I have strong feelings about Shakespeare.
Well, I have a lot of feelings about Shakespeare too.
Yeah.
I think that like the fact that we have to sit and teach it like Romeo and Juliet in 9th grade English, like why? Like I think there's so many more interesting, beautiful things that we can be doing than that. Even if it has to be Elizabethan drama, like we could do a lot of other types of things. But I get why it's sort of this touchstone for English studies, because it is sort of the change of how we think about language within English. But I like, there are some of his plays I really love. I've read every single one of them. I've worked on a lot of
Every
them.
single one?
All 39, and the couple that he's co-authored. Yeah, I've read all of them, which is like why I was a Shakespeare nerd in high school and was a weirdo. The theater kids were not cool in my high school. I was the weirdo who was like in the corner being like,
Well, I don't know that they were cool. I was just, I was one of them, and then there were cooler ones.
That's so interesting because I wasn't actually a theater kid.
no, I'm
high school.
a theater kid.
I'm a dyed-in-the-wool musical theater nerd.
No, I am. I did all the musicals. I was the lead in all the
See,
plays.
I was making like avant-garde dance theater in San Francisco as a teenager. That's a good hand-in-hand component.
Yeah.
Like I was like the only teenager with like all of these people in their 30s and 40s who'd had these like long-term careers.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I was singing in operas when I was in high school. Like I was like the child choirs.
Dude, you know
that
what I remember, which was so crazy? In high school, this is like so San Francisco. In high school, because I did contact improv, I remember as a 15-year-old, I would go to contact improv jams. Do you know what that is?
Of course I know what
No.
that
I know
is.
you know
I was
what that
doing that
is.
when I was like 16 too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Contact improv is this kind of technique where you like through
Sharing weight and changing a person. Yeah.
and
It's
you can
very viewpointsy
it's
too.
like you can have like a lot of like lifts and do all this stuff, but it's all improvised. But you kind of have to do it with other people who have training in it.
Yeah.
And as a teenager, I would go to contact improv jams, as they were called, with like 500 people.
God.
In like huge football stadium indoor space in the Mission, which I'm sure doesn't exist anymore because all the fucking tech assholes bought it up. Do you know what I mean? And I would be like doing contact with like with these adults. It wasn't that it was just like a creative paradise, man. And I feel like Baltimore had that too because space there is so cheap and the city's so deeply troubled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's space to be an artist. There's infrastructure to be
Yeah.
an artist. In San Francisco, when I was growing up, I wasn't in the theater world, but I was in like the dance world. But like there was the time, the space, the cheap rents to like we like made dance. That's like what we did. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was dancing every day after school. I would go to the Mission and dance.
And speaking to your point about like the 70s and when your dad was here, like everyone I've talked to, like the people who I kind of consider my mentors are all sort of the people that are phasing out of the institutional theater because they're making way for new people, but also they're like, it just doesn't make sense anymore. Most of the people that I look up to could work at a cafe for 3 days a week to make enough money to cover their rent and then spend the other days making their art. They could be like, hey, I'm going to close up and I'm going to do a reading in the cafe that I work at. You can't do that anymore. There are no spaces anymore.
Although we haven't gotten yet to the person who's starring in our play,
Yes.
Scott Shepherd, who I kind of feel is like a member of the old guard.
Yeah, but I think what's interesting too is that like he kind of came up through Worcester Group in these places once they were already developed, right?
Right.
The Worcester Group was already a thing. But him and his co-creator who started Elevator Repair Service, they were interns at Worcester Group in the fucking like office area being like, we need to make a play. Why don't we set a play in an office? Why don't we set Great Gatsby in an office? And then did that because they were literally in the office and being like, what else do we do?
Yeah.
But that it's so hard to access now. Like space is the hardest commodity to have anymore. And everyone's trying to move out and do things in Brooklyn, but like it's more expensive there.
Yeah.
They're in spaces.
And also Brooklyn kind of sucks.
Well,
I disagree.
We disagree. We both we live 3 blocks from each other and we love Brooklyn.
Love Brooklyn.
I love Brooklyn. It's just hard to find space there too that is like can accommodate all the things that you actually need, you know?
Yeah.
Which is why, like, so last year, Molly and I did a workshop of another play of mine in my apartment, in this gorgeous apartment, because, I mean, it worked. The play was written to be performed in an apartment, but, like, this is what's happening is that all these kind of indie, non-traditional venues are having to be found. Because, honestly, like, the institutional theater is, like, stayed boring, goes through development hell, and it's just kind of milquetoast.
Well, now these few places are just the expected pipeline. Like the public is the kind of musical theater pipeline. Hamilton, Suffs, they're like it's just like you do a thing there, you then go into a workshop, you do it, you come back, you do another production, and then 3 to 5 years, hopefully you go on Broadway. Yeah, and that's like once a season they do something with the hope that it's going to transfer.
Yeah.
And I guess you have to test it out, but again, it's like the life cycle of these things is just so exhausting.
We want to make theater that's like vital. Do you know what I mean? That has something to say about what's happening now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like a little messier.
So do you think theater can save us?
Yeah. 100%.
I think it can provide tools or opportunities for conversation that could then maybe leading to saving. But I don't know if I'm like,
She's like, let me be really pragmatic about it.
X
I'm
equals
like, yes.
Y. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm biased as like a huge theater lover, but I do think now more than ever, being in a space with people, having a live experience that you can like touch. I mean, you shouldn't touch them, but you know, it's like theater is going to be harder to replace theater with AI than other art forms. Yeah. We of course had the ABBA holograms, but that was very expensive and we probably won't be seeing much of that.
So funny.
But yeah, and I feel like it's good for people to be in spaces together. And it's increasingly rare.
Well, and to be in spaces together uncomfortable. Like I think that's really important too. That like we're sharing breath and we're sharing space, agreeing that we're all putting ourselves into a position to kind of be like tormented a little bit. Yeah. And hopefully that makes us a little bit more empathetic people, which I think if that's what saving is, then maybe.
I guess I'm thinking of it even from a more pragmatic perspective, which is like, it's so nice to be in a space for 75 minutes where you can't look at your phone and you're dealing with something visceral and real. As like theater is for Luddites, you know what I mean? It is like imposes being a Luddite on people, which is obviously my preference in general. So I also think just like pragmatically, I think theater is an arresting form of work because everything else, even at me, I was watching football the other night and I was listening to a podcast as I watched football and I was like, oh, Francesca, what are you doing?
My art that I'm consuming.
My football art. You know what I mean? But I was like, if even I'm doing this, I was like, oh God, this is bad. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely think that, you know, especially in college, we were all like, yeah, we're going to save the world with our art, you know? And I think now, like, it's more about, like, it's just good for you as an audience goer to go and have that experience. And in terms, I mean, I was thinking, so there was this playwright who did a strike of stop taking their HIV meds until the New York Theater Workshop called for a ceasefire, which they didn't, and he eventually started taking his meds again.
I think that part of it, just to note too, he was not necessarily on payroll, but he was an artist in residence there. Like they were working on creating a show. He had a residency, and then they were like planning to program him in the next year. So he had like a close relationship, which I think matters.
Is he back in New York yet?
I don't know, but like I know he got one of their residencies, and like they were working together as
it followed me. We should probably say hi to him.
Hi. it was his artistic home.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. Thank
And
you.
people were kind of shitting on him for the strike, but I was like, you know what? I think that a lot of times theater artists feel like they're contributing to something without like there's no stakes, right?
Yes, yeah.
And that's what's cool about what you guys are doing is I think there are some stakes
There's
to
some
it.
stakes for sure.
I think so. I think we can get in trouble.
I think we could get in trouble.
Francesca rubs off on me as such
I
a little
know.
goody two shoes that I'm like, I hope we do, because then I think it means we did the right thing and we did something worthwhile.
Yeah. And the response from New York Theater Workshop was like so fucking annoying. Actually, like I'm gonna read a little bit of it because this is the artistic director. She's talking about the first show that she saw at New York Theater Workshop, which I guess is about people like living in the subway or something. And she said, to this day, I can't pass a darkened subway stop without thinking of that show and what must still be done to fight food and housing insecurity. Theater's true superpower is its capacity for transformation. I'm like, bitch, are you kidding me? You're like, oh, I saw this show and it was so powerful that now I like have empathy for homeless people. You know what I mean? Like that's when I'm like, the theater annoys me.
Yes. I mean, it's like optics PC hell, right? Like it's
PC hell. That's what I like, especially being not an insider in the theater world. When I look at it, I'm just like, these people are so fucking PC.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I'm definitely in the camp of I want to sit and share our pronouns in a circle, and I want to have these kind of check-ins, and I get that it's not for everyone, but I do think that we do things to the point of like it actually like going full circle and becoming the issue itself, right? The way I was in a space where we were talking about like just the practice of using pronouns, and someone brought up like, well, what if someone doesn't feel safe to share that they're changing their pronouns? And I was like, well, then they should just share the ones that they want to share that day. Well, if we're not creating a space where they can be safe enough to share the new ones that they want, and I was like, that seems like it's their journey, and I don't know if it's me opening up a space that's going to help. And I was
obsession with safety. There's a line in the play which like one character is like he says he doesn't feel safe anymore, and the other character says like, who does? Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck
and
are
what does
people
safety
talking
mean,
about?
you know?
What does safety mean? And I also feel like the way that people have weaponized safety, I'm so, a way to get people to kind of, at least last year in 2023 and 2024, I don't think it's really true in Trump's America, to say like, I don't feel safe right now, was a way to completely disarm and denude anybody and to like establish the primacy of victimhood. You know?
When there's like actually people who are not safe,
safe, like the children in Gaza.
Yeah. The children in Gaza, like the families going into immigration courts and then getting like ripped apart by ICE. Like those people are not safe. Like you're safe to share your pronouns in the rehearsal room, probably, based on my experience.
And now we don't say safe spaces, we say brave spaces.
That is so gay, dude.
I knew you would say exactly that.
No, we definitely were using that in college.
Yeah.
Brave spaces.
Well, we went from safe to safer to brave spaces.
Are you fucking? See, this is why Trump
I know.
won the election.
No, it's not. But it didn't help.
Yeah, I'll say it doesn't help. It doesn't help where people feel, especially people of different generations. I've been really lucky. I've been working on a few plays recently where there's like a lot of age variety in the cast, and people feel very not called in. Right? Like I was
Gen X, dude, don't even get them going on pronouns. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But they feel like they can't share. So then they get all verklempt.
Yeah, and then they feel also like, well, things keep changing, and no one's telling me, and I feel
and
so. I feel
shaming
like
me.
Yeah, that they're thinking I'm the enemy when I was talking to this one actor who's in his 70s, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm a man, and I have a gay daughter. Why is it that I have to go in and say I'm he him? Like I can just be me." And I was like, "Yeah,
I know,
dude,
literally, that's how I feel.
I hope you be you and let them be them, and then that's that. Anyway,
I think what's hot and what's not is woke shaming is not hot, for 2025.
Yeah.
We posted a clip on TikTok about like, us talking about if it's like fascism and thinness and Ozempic or whatever. And people were like, there's actual fascism happening right now. Why aren't you using your platform, which is like 1,000 followers, to talk about, how SNAP benefits are being taken? And I'm like, okay, like take that energy and call your representative and hit the street.
That's the thing. We all feel so out of control that if I can poke at you, it makes like somehow makes me feel better when it's like, because I know I can't poke them, but we can fucking call your representative. Like,
I just feel like it's pussy culture. You know what I mean?
I think it's trying to hit anything to make any kind of action happen because we can't control anything. That like if I can knock this over, it makes me feel more powerful as opposed to like
it's an abdication of personal responsibility, which is I think maybe what you guys are getting at.
Yeah.
It's easier to pick on others whose ideology isn't quite pure, rather than take responsibility.
Yeah, 100%.
Also just like for 2025, which is obviously almost over. So for 2026, I think it's just like, don't be annoying.
Well, some of us can't.
I was going to say,
help.
Listen, as someone who identifies as an annoying person, I don't know if I can.
Yeah, that might be asking too much.
Back that up.
For 2026, start a theater company.
Well,
yeah.
And do something that's going to get you in trouble. Not like being an edgelord, because honestly, that's really played out.
Yeah.
But do something that'll get you in actual trouble.
You're a wee bit of an edgelord.
I kind of knew that. I had a feeling I was going to get hit with that at some point this week. It was because of those the young Republican group text. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, NPR called them edgelords. I was like, it was
They're not edging.
Private group chat, and they definitely were not trying to
be on the edge. They were trying to be over the edge.
Yeah, they were trying to dismantle or like burn the edge.
I mean, it was also funny because somebody pointed out, didn't JD Vance say that it was like they're just a bunch of like young guys, but they're like
no, he was like they're kids. It's
yeah,
like,
but they're like they're in their 40s.
They're like 30 years old. Oh, 30-year-old.
But they're mad. They're white boys, so they're
honestly,
they're
I feel kind of like a kid. So I identify with JD Vance.
They're kids at heart.
Yeah. An edgelord. Yeah. I don't think maybe that's true. I've actually, you know what? I've been accused of that a lot lately. I just think it's that the edges are a little tight. Do you know what I mean? Now. Yes. I think that's really what it is. It's that there's just like this, I feel
like there's no edges.
Well, the people's response, like our own, to be able to just be like, oh, shut up. Like we're all so on
people
edge.
Are still so, I guess not publicly, not like internet facing, but I think a lot of people, at least in the coastal elites, are still in their little hearts pretty fucking woke. That's been my experience.
Well, some of wokeness I think is good, like not being like racist. That's good.
No, what I mean when I say woke is like the desire to patrol others and then punish for transgressions. That's what I mean by woke. I don't mean the underlying ideology. It's the desire to punish.
And the performing of it, too.
But the glee and the cruelty of meting out punishment. And that's what I think has to solidly be out for 2026.
Well, I think it's, as it's fading, there's then, the right is kind of taking that on in their own special way. Like that doxing around Charlie Kirk posts and stuff, which, by the way, I haven't looked into that, but like apparently they were raising a bunch of money in crypto and then they just like disappeared, like whoever was behind that website.
Obviously, just like Steve Bannon and his wall money, it's called fraud. They're criminals, and there's nothing wrong with criminals. I come from a long line of criminals. I'm not judging them, but we just gotta call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
they're criminals,
and no one holds them accountable because they don't have to be held
except for us in our art and our plays.
Yes.
Exactly.
If they invited us to their parties, we could hold them accountable with pig's blood. That's the real.
Oh yeah.
Although I would kind of more be interested in like Jake. Wait, who was the Biden guy? Jake Tapper? Who was in charge of a lot of the stuff with Gaza at the beginning of the war.
I don't know his name.
I'll think of it. But like, I would love to pour pig's blood on him.
Oh, we have a list.
We have a list.
I have a vial.
But if you have the technical know-how of how to keep it warm so it doesn't, what does blood do? Congeal before it is poured. That's like, so if you're a special effects person, that's what we'd really love to know. Yeah, we're all about, what's the corny holding power to accountable. What is that? Truth to what?
Truth to power.
Speaking truth to power. I don't want to speak it. I want to use like my Nerf gun with blood on it.
Splat.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So related, not really, but I was wondering, are massage circles still a thing? Because that was a big thing in my theater classes and like rehearsal spaces. And I was wondering post Me Too if you're not allowed to do massage circles.
I did a massage circle last year with the cast. They were all somewhat young, and it was like a really tense scene. Everyone was like not clearly after break. Everyone was like, mer, mer, mer. And I was like, everyone come over here, get in a circle, sit down. And then I was like, turn. And I was like, massage the person in front of you. And everyone was like, yeah. And so we had a massage train. Everyone was like, we needed that. So I think you just got to read the room. Also at that point, like I've been doing so much like ensemble building with this group of lovely people that I knew they all wanted to touch each other. They were doing all touching each other.
It's funny when you're working on a show. Like I'm like right now, I'm playing the wife in the thing, and it's like, yeah, it's like acting is physical.
Very physical.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you're building a physical relationship.
You develop a false sense of intimacy as well. Like I was in a cast one time where we were all young. We were all playing high schoolers, and it was we were all like just out of college. It was my first professional gig out of college, and I was obsessed with everyone. Like I wanted to see them after the show all the time, all these things. And the show closed and everyone went on with their lives. And I had like this deep mourning of like these relationships. Why aren't they like, why can't I see them? And one person actually had to be like, this was just a show friendship. Like we'll see each other at auditions. We will be, but like we are not that close. I know.
Okay, see, I have walked. Yeah, that's a cunt. So I have walked away.
I was like, be my friend.
I'm still really tight with the last time I had that happen is I was in a movie where we all like this. It was an ensemble film, and the ensemble like really bonded. And we're still tight. One of them is like my best boy, you know, and then we're all still friends. Yeah. So it can happen.
No, I know.
It's never quite the same.
Well, what's interesting about directing is sort of you have to have the wherewithal to remove yourself from that opportunity. Like during breaks and especially like during tech, I remember the first time I directed something where people were my age. Like I wasn't directing people older than me. We had a dinner break and everyone was like, do you want to come get dinner with us? And I had to be like, no, I can't. I need to let them be alone without me, and they need to be able to complain about me.
How are you going to do that with our show? Because you and I are collaborating all the time.
Yeah, we can talk about it. Okay. But there's something of like, I have to allow them to talk about me. I have to allow them to get close and just to debrief on me. And I knew they weren't going to talk shit, but I knew they needed a space to like be themselves, to be actors. And it would
literally never occur to me that somebody was talking about me.
Why?
That's just what actors do in a show.
But yeah, but it's also like being able to sort of step away and be like, I have to give people a chance to touch each other without me there. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, like the massage circle, like I have to sort of be like, okay, bye.
Yeah, well, interesting about the feigned intimacy, not the feigned intimacy.
Yeah.
What was the word that you used?
I mean, it is kind of a fake intimacy. I don't know what I said. I mean,
false sense of intimacy.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, because I think there's one thing, like I do feel like I've had a lot of close relationships come from theater and, you know, cast parties where there's crying, you know.
We're very dramatic
like
people.
Epic makeout sessions at all the cast parties in high school.
Yeah.
Well, in college, we used to have opening night champagne night. I would get 2 bottles. And we would all sit around, and you had to go around the circle and say, compliment every single person. Oh
my God.
And then we'd all be sobbing.
Yep.
I loved college. Yeah. But, you know, like, because I would be interested to hear your experience because you're playing opposite a romantic interest. And a lot of actors, like, I assume they're just not very good, but they, like, will be opposite someone in a romantic situation and then they'll like start dating in real life or whatever. And so I
think they're in like I've totally known people who are like, but we're in love.
I've talked to, and I'll out myself. I've told Francesca about my experience. The last show that I was really ever in, I definitely like fell in love like deeply and quickly and hard with the guy that I was opposite of. And I think it was a combination of like, yes, we were playing intimately, but like I really wanted to feel comfortable with him. So we started spending a lot of time together. He was driving me home. It was like the what was happening on stage gave us permission to like continue that off stage. And like wherewithal, I should have like not walked home with him or like I should have given myself space, but I was obsessed with him.
And how old were you?
I was like 23 and he was like 39.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know, he had like, he's never going to say this, but he already knows all this.
Age gap, power dynamic,
truly.
alert.
Truly. And I like, he had just gotten off hiking the AT. Like, he was just coming back to theater. He was like in this place of like transformation. Like, he was just like, to me, like just so beautifully raw and unsure of himself in this way that was like, I connected to, because I like just finished college and I was also like just starting, and we really like met each other at a time. And I think maybe that was lovely and good, but I like clung to it. I really clung to it. And afterwards, and then COVID hit. And it sort of dissipated because COVID hit. But we were like, gonna go hiking in the summer and spend time together, and maybe the pandemic
sounds like
a
a blessing that it didn't happen.
Yeah,
but I didn't know the age aspect of it. That kind of changes.
But I think also that, like, I don't know, it's easy when you have a facade to be able to put on to then just quickly take it off and then be like, but we're still the same, right? Like, we've done this work, we've kissed, we've done these things.
I don't experience that stuff.
Yeah. You feel like it's easy for you to separate.
Yeah.
I've definitely had experiences where it's really easy to separate. I think it's the person. Like, I was in Spring Awakening where I had to have sex on stage, like graphic sex on stage, and afterwards I had no need.
But see, then I would associate it more with the person than with like acting or the role. Like, and I haven't done that many romantic. Let me think. I haven't. Yeah, actually, maybe that's true. Because I get cast more as like a character actor, so I don't usually have romantic things. But I think it's just dependent upon the person, and then it's just like having a work. Yeah, you can get into like a work crush romance in your head that has more import than it really does. But I don't experience, like, to me, there's nothing integral about pretending anything in any scene and then having that carry over.
Yeah, it's a work
crush. It can. I think it's rather than like we're starting from working at a desk and we have the thing. You like start already from a place of like heightened drama, right? So if you're like yelling at each other, like kissing and laughing, like it's just easier, I think, to then, if you like that person, to be like, oh, let's carry this.
I know, but I sort of feel like, as a kind of delusional individual in general, I would just have that with anybody ever. Like, last night I was deciding what movie to go to, and I was like, should I go see my boyfriend Josh O'Connor's movie, or should I go see my boyfriend, what's his name, who did Urchin, Harris Dickinson's new movie? And I was really
boyfriend?
like, no, but like in my mind, I was like, they both could be my boyfriend because they would really want to date me if they met me.
I really have a candle lit for Josh O'Connor.
Yeah,
I know.
I know we all do, don't we?
He's so.
But
I
a
was
little
like,
mousiness, yeah.
but like in my mind, I was actually thinking like, oh, I don't know which one I should choose. But I'm just saying, like, I have a level of both divorce from reality and like coldness that I was like, and then I cheated on both of them, and I went to see Channing Tatum.
What's he in?
Roofman.
Oh,
But he's older than he used to be, and he's doing weird.
As
we all are. But he's doing weird stuff to his face. I wish I could just be with him, and I could be like, Channing, you're enough.
I know. God.
You're enough, baby.
Yeah.
The way you can dance. Magic Mike is printed on celluloid. We'll never forget.
Step Up.
We will never forget. Ever.
I recently rewatched that and it held up.
I would say that actually this is my critical babe theory of today.
Yeah, hit us.
I think the most rewatchable film ever is Magic Mike.
I don't think that's that like crazy of a thing. I feel like
I've said that to dudes, and I actually said that on the ensemble movie I did, and I literally got dragged throat
because
torn
you're
out
with
for
like
30
actors
minutes.
who are trying to be like, no, this is the art. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like I would
got
say
dragged
the
so
most
hard.
rewatchable movie is like Dirty Dancing.
I can't with Patrick. I can't.
You don't like him? That's crazy.
He be cheap.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh my God, I love him so much.
That's crazy.
Well, also I look like Jennifer Grey, so I
Totally, that makes sense.
I would get a little
movie.
People would just be like, "Baby," when I was younger. Truly, I would get stopped and be like, "Are you Jennifer Grey's daughter?" And then when I cut my hair and like it got curlier, I would like.
Beautiful.
I get it all the time.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
I find separation to be easy to make, but I think that's mostly an astrological issue. You know what I mean?
I've only ever had, I was not that this precludes or prevents romantic intrigue, but I went to all girls school, so it was always all girls playing.
They combined us with Alan Stevenson Boys School
Yeah.
to do
bring
ours.
yeah.
And actually, this is how I learned I could act. because the second play I did ever, we did The Tempest, and I played Miranda, and
I was Ariel.
That's cute. I hated the kid who played Ferdinand.
Why are we doing all these ancient Greek plays all the time?
No, that's Shakespeare.
Oh, The Tempest.
The Tempest.
That's so embarrassing.
Speaking of Shakespeare.
So, and I remember I like hated this kid. I'm sorry if you're out there. I don't even remember your name.
Wait, like you hated his personality or his
Yeah.
acting?
Just all of it. I was just like, this is what they're giving me to work with. And
How old are you?
I was 12. And my dad, did my dad come see that play? My dad must have come and seen that play, and he was like, you were incredible. You seemed so in love with him. And I was like, I have a gift. But you know what a trick I used? I just kept my mouth open whenever I was talking to him, and it helped.
You can take that to the bank. Talk to some people you hate tomorrow with your mouth open.
Well, okay, I guess we should wrap up, right?
Yeah, we have
So much work to do.
More to do.
So again,
Let's just plug the play.
Yeah, so the play. So it's called Escalation Time. It's running at Studio 17, which is on 17th Street and 5th Avenue.
Yes, right by Union Square.
So easy to get
Right
to.
there.
And it's running. Previews start November 7th. Opening is November 10th, and then it's going to run through the 23rd. It's directed by Molly, written by me,
Starring Francesca.
Oh, I'm going to be in it too. Starring Scott Shepard. And I guess we didn't say this, but there's also a lot of sex in it. So if you're into that, you could.
It is staged to a T.
Yeah, it is. It is titillating.
Yes.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like if you want to laugh, you want to cry, and you want to. I'm not going to finish that statement. Then you should
Gasp.
Gasp,
Yeah.
and be entertained, because
Yeah.
that's really what we care about.
I'll be there on the 8th
Yeah.
and the 10th.
Yeah. So if you want to come
Hey,
see
oh, thanks so
Sarah,
much.
but anyway, we'll put a special code in the show notes if you want to get your tickets.
And they're really very inexpensive.
They're very reasonable.
accessible.
They're very reasonable. They're less than like a crappy dinner literally anywhere in New York City.
Less than a tour at the Vatican.
I'll tell you that much.
And less time. It's only like 75 minutes.
Yeah.
So
And it's great. So
Well,
come
thanks so
see the
much for
play.
having me,
Yeah, thank you,
guys.
Molly.
It was such a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
yeah, I'm a big fan of the podcast. as
We
you
know.
guys
We
know.
appreciate it.
I have
Thank you.
I have issued corrections that have been.
This is true. They've then been put into print.
We
Yeah.
welcome. We need all the help we can get.
Educate us.
Yay.
All right, well, class dismissed. Bye.
We obviously hope for your success, inshallah.